Hari Om. We shall chant from verse number 4. न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वप्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य यास्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते यस्त्वेन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्धेद कर्मणः यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर. Arjuna's question that if knowledge is superior, self-knowledge, ultimately if we want to gain self-knowledge, gain that abidance in the self, which is possible through knowledge, then what is the role of karma? If we don't like karma, we should be able to just drop all karma and focus on gaining that state of enlightenment. Why go after karma? Because karma is that which binds. We perform karma, it creates impression within. With the force of impression, again desires arise and again we perform karma. So it is like a karma chakkar, a cycle of karma which binds us. Because every action which we perform creates an impression, and that impression forces us to perform those actions again. So why get involved with this cycle of karma? Why not just drop all of them and focus on gaining self-knowledge, gaining that state of enlightenment? Bhagavan says that idea is good, but it's not possible. Because it is not possible to just drop all karmas. It is not possible to gain that quality of the mind and intellect required to gain knowledge without performing our karma. So there is this path of karma which we have to follow first, and then we can come to that path of knowledge. So this twofold path, Bhagavan says, I have said in the beginning. In the Vedas, it is clearly mentioned. So one cannot attain that supreme without following this path of karma. Also, if one forcefully try to restrain the senses, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, still the mind will not be restrained. The mind will run towards the objects, and such activity is not fruitful. It is mithyacharas uchyate. Therefore, what we should do is, having restrained the senses with proper understanding, we should engage them into rightful action with the attitude of karma yoga, means performing our duties, niyatam karma, whatever our worldly duties and religious, dharmic duties should be performed, dedicating all this to Ishvara. So when we live in this way, then slowly and steadily our mind will become pure. So this is called yajnartha karma. Yajna here is another name of Bhagwan only. So yajna is not only the action which we perform, the ritual which we perform, but also the one to whom it is dedicated is also called yajna. So yajnarthat is Ishvararthat, for the sake of Ishvara. So yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. All other actions, they bind. They create, we get caught up in that cycle. But when we offer it to Ishvara, we break that cycle. The cycle is broken. And we can come out of this bondage. Therefore, the karmas which we are forced to do because of Prakriti should be done with the attitude that I am doing it for Ishvara. So tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. So without attachment, you perform actions, your niyata karma, for the sake of God, Ishvara. One more reason Bhagwan gives why we should perform action in this way. He says in the next verse, verse number 10. Sah yajna praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadhvam Eshavoshtvishta kamadhuka Saha yajna praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi Eshavoshtvishta kamadhuka. Bhagwan, he says that in the beginning, when the Creator created this world, Prajapati, Praja Srishtva, when he created all the beings, various different types of beings were born. Then after creating them, Prajapati, the Creator, gave them a technique by which they can prosper in this world. They can gain that abhyuday and nishreyas. They can prosper in this world and ultimately attain the state of enlightenment. See this entire creation which we see, this vast world, our own earth, plus all the other planets, stars, galaxies, millions of galaxies are there. You never know how many other living beings are there. In our scriptures, they talk about various layers of this world. This is one world, but subtler than that is another world. So, Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, Jana, Maha, Satyam and all. Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Rasatal, Patal, Mahatal. So various levels of worlds are there. And in all these worlds, different types of beings are there. So all of them are projected by that creator. The devatas, many devatas are there. Then the different types of other beings, asuras, gandharvas, kinnara, yaksha, and so many of them are there. And we human beings on earth itself, we have variety of beings are there. Animal, birds, plant, viruses, bacteria, multiple type of them. With all our antibiotics and all, they discover some more thing by which they can fight with it. So our antibiotics also stop giving harm to them. So there are microscopic beings are there, and huge mighty devatas are there. All of them are there. And when they are created, means the creation goes through a cycle. Utpatti, Sthiti, Laya. All these beings are always there. There are infinite varieties of beings in this world. Infinite beings are there. The jivas we call. They were always there. From the beginningless time, they are there. And we all go through this cycle of creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So when the whole world gets dissolved, it's called pralay. It all gets dissolved into Ishvara. Ishvara alone remains. Nobody else is there. When that pralay happens, everything is as though swallowed by Ishvara. Just like when we dream many people in our dream. Suppose you go for a big rally or something, lots of people are there. Then when you wake up, where do all these people go? Into yourself. You swallow them and sit alone. Similarly, the entire cosmos is followed by Ishvara when pralaya happens. So, Ishvara alone is there at that time. Ahameva asameva agre. I alone am there before. Sadeva samya idamagra asit. Like that Upanishad also say. Then, after that, the creation begins. So, creation also happens in particular stages and all. So, when the creation happens, Hiranyagarbha is born. And then all these other devatas and all are projected. So when all these beings were born, it is as though the Prajapati, the creator, gave them this technique of yajna, of performing action dedicated to Ishvara, means dedicated to the totality. You will find in nature that it's very strange that everyone performs action. Grossly looking at it, it appears as though they are working for themselves. But there is some aspect of it which is, or the whole thing is dedicated to the totality. Like in our own body, there are millions and trillions of cells are there. It appears as though they are individually working for themselves. But no. Each and every one of them are working for the sake of the body. So when they work for the sake of the body, individually also they are benefited. So the organs are there, the various cells are there. They work and their work benefits are dedicated to the totality. In this way, all beings are doing something which benefits the totality. So there is a cycle, there is something very strange thing about this world. But all of them don't know about it. They instinctively, they work in this way. But for humans, for devatas, there is a ability to think and do their purushartha. So for them, Bhagwan has, in the beginning as though, has told them that this yajna means the attitude of yajna, means performing action dedicated to the higher cause, will be like a kama dukha. Kama dukha means wish fulfilling cow. Means if you perform action in this way, it will benefit you. If you work in this way, it will benefit you. And that is how it is. See, like for example, we eat something, the mouth, the mehnat karte daat or hamari jivva, they put forth so much effort, but then after achieving it, we swallow it. It is not kept there only. इतना मेहनत किया मैं तो यहीं पर रखूँगा. I will not share it with the rest of the body. Then it will not work. So there is, although it goes down. There also it gets all the mixed up with juice and all, and that everything gets circulated throughout the body. So that is how the whole body functions. Similarly, this entire creation is the body of Ishvara. It's not a dead material. So it also functions in this way, that each and every aspect of the creation as though works for the totality. So one for all and all for one. Nice slogan, huh? Anyway, so that is how it works. That is yajna bhavana. So saha yajna praja srishtva, having created this whole, all beings, along with yajna bhavana, with this yajna, purovacha, in the beginning when the creation happened, Prajapati, the creator, as though told everyone. This message was given. Means this message is there in our system. It is there in the system of all the beings. Ki anena prashavishyadvam, ki with this yajna you prosper. You gain prosperity in this world. Means you progress, you evolve. With the yajna you can evolve. So all beings, they evolve through action only. So from lower creatures, they slowly become more and more complex, more and more evolved, until ultimately becomes human beings who can use all their faculties. So all animals, they cannot use all their faculties because their body is not like that. They cannot use their mind, intellect. Jivas are there, but they cannot use everything. So finally, after a lot of struggle, living in this world, finally we gain this human body. And as human being, then consciously, proactively, we can work with this yajna bhavana and evolve to attain that state of enlightenment. So Bhagavan says that Prajapati told everyone, Anena prashavishyadvam eshavostvishta kama dukha, that this will be your wish fulfilling wish fulfilling cow. This is in the literature we have this cow, which whatever you wish, you can, it gives. It's like a wish fulfilling tree also. Means whatever we wish, it can come true through this yajna. Not only individual when we dedicate to the totality, but when together, lot of people come together and dedicate their action to a higher goal, a strange thing happens. We get blessings. The work gets fulfilled. It's a strange mechanism which is there in this world. Together, even 3-4 people or a family coming together, giving up their own selfishness, their own pride, if they work together for a higher cause. One dedicate to Ishvara, but even if we dedicate to something higher, it will give rise to a different type of energy and the result will be amazing. Sometimes people say also, I don't know how it happened. हमने सब में साथ ने कर दिया और हो गया. We don't even know how it happened. But even if one person become egoistic, proud, and all, then the energy becomes less. Things don't work properly then. So this yajna bhavana is a great gift given to us by our Creator. It's a karma only, but a attitude with which it is done can give rise to whatever result we want. It's like a magic formula. You dedicate to Ishvara and Ishvara will bless you. Not directly, but the dedicate action and you will get the result. That is how it is. More about this is said now in the next verse. We'll try to understand it. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantah श्रेय परमवाप्स्यथ देवान् भावयता. Bhagavan says देवान् भावयतान् अनेन. For human being, Bhagavan says that you, with this yajna, this karma, what you do? You worship the devatas. Then what will happen? Then the devatas will also worship you or take care of you. Te deva bhavayantu vaha. When we dedicate our actions to the devatas, then the devatas will appropriately give us the result also. In this way, parasparam bhavayantah, worshipping each other, shreya paramavapsyata, both of you can gain shreya, the human beings also and devatas also. Devatas are also jivas, but having a higher, more power and some more responsibilities about this whole world. Now let us try to understand this, because we understand only our physical world and how things happen in this world. But we should understand this whole cosmos is a very subtle structure. It's like it's Bhagwan's body only. And it works in a very strange and a very amazing way, wonderful way. For example, if you want to, let us say, you want to fill petrol in your car, then what do? You go to the petrol station. And there are some people there who will help. And you give money and they fill that car with petrol. Sometimes it is automatic, you have to do yourself, but that electricity and all should be there, otherwise it cannot function. So I give money to that person, and that person in return gives me that petrol. Or you go to the market, you give money, and that person gives you whatever you want. When I perform action, I get the result. But to give the result, someone should be there. Because the result just doesn't fall from the sky. Results are very complex. When we perform action, we get the result. But to get result, someone has to give it to me. Because that is also an action. So somebody has to perform that action for me to get that result. And that someone who is performing that action to give me the result are called the Devatas. See, for example, just imagine your own body, and lot of things are happening in our body. The circulation of our blood, the breathing, digestion, so many things happen. We don't even know. We just eat and just relax, but so much work is happening there. All the organs, everyone has to work 24 hours to take care of our body. Now just imagine that in one of the organ there is all those microbes and bacteria and all are there. They are there now, whether you like it or not. Our body is filled with all sorts of things. So just imagine that in one of the organ there are bacteria, and they are quite intelligent and quite wise bacteria. And just imagine they are like scientists, few of them, and they are trying to study the world. For them, the whole body is like a world only. So they are in one particular place where whatever we breathe, they can experience it. They are somewhere in our nose, let us say. So those scientists will be wondering, there is a cyclic process of this thing coming. Hot air comes, then after some time cold air comes. So they must be having their own experiments and research works and this and that. Because one of them might be a religious person saying that नहीं एक बड़ा देवता है जो breathe करता है. It's what foolish thing. We are modern scientists. It is happening according to the gravitational pull and this and that. So they will not even accept that it is one human being who is breathing. The breathing is happening because of some conscious entity, because otherwise the breath is jada. Similarly, the air which is moving in this world, all that is happening, though from our standpoint when we just look at it and do some experiment and all, it might appear as though it is just a physical entity. But the scripture says the whole world is a living organism. It is not a dead material. It's a living thing. It's a living organism. The whole entire world is body of Bhagwan. That Virat is called Virat Purush, and the entire world is his body. In our scriptures, the whole creation is explained in a very beautiful way. We have seen in some Upanishad also, Aitri Upanishad and all. So in this Bhagavad Gita itself, Bhagwan says Ishvara has got two Shaktis, two Prakritis, Para and Apara Prakriti. Apara Prakriti has got 8 aspects, 8 contents in it. Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kham Mana Buddhi and Ahankar. This is the Apara Prakriti, the one lower Prakriti of Bhagwan. And the higher Prakriti of Bhagwan is the Prana. So from Ishvara alone, taking his Ishvara alone with the help of his Prakriti, manifest this whole world. First, that Brahmaji, Hiranyagarbha is born. Thereafter, so many other Devatas are born. And thereafter, human being, animal, birds, plants, so many different types of creatures. So the entire cosmos, it functions by all these jivas interacting with each other. Even on earth we find the one thing which human being has discovered, which is not there, which was not there maybe, is waste. But otherwise in nature you will not find any waste. If you go to the forest, you will not find some garbage. Everything is consumed by every creature. Even dead elephant is there. After a week you go, is no more there, gone. कहाँ गया? खा लिया किसी ने। कौन खाया? उसको किसने और खाया लिया। He is eaten by someone else. What about that fellow? He is eaten by someone else. So जीवो जीवस्य भोजनम, एक जीव दूसरे जीव को खाता है. That is how the whole structure is there, that one jiva helps the other jiva to survive. The other jiva eats the other jiva to survive. So in this way, each one of us, we keep on eating the other jiva. And it's a cyclic, it's a very complex structure which Bhagwan has made. So for human being also, Bhagwan has given some karmas. So when we perform these karmas, the appropriate devatas, the powers, they give us the result. Now this some may not comprehend or may not agree, but even if you observe in this world, like for example our own mobile. So I am having a mobile, you are having a mobile. He is having a mobile who has not switched it off. She is having a mobile. So everyone is having mobile. If you just look at it, you will be able to understand all the mechanism, this, that and all. And you might think that it functions by itself. But no, there is a devata who is making it function. That server is there. And you have to give dakshina to that server, either before or afterwards, depending on the servers or your. So that ahuti you have to offer. And when the ahuti is offered, the server keeps your mobile in working condition. The moment you stop ahuti, that very moment it will stop functioning. नहीं, you try to अरे क्या हो गया उसको ये पिलाओ ये करो नया बैटरी डालो, कुछ नहीं. It is not there. Some other devata is making it work. If that devata is not happy, it will stop working instantly. So those devatas, they are called the adhisthana devata. Similarly, our whole system is like mobile only. All our sense organs, they have their appropriate devatas. All eyes, ears, nose, they have their devatas. And for example, for my eyes, the Surya is the devata. Not only my eye, your eye also. So Surya is one who controls both our eyes. If Surya is not happy, both our eyes will not. If Surya doesn't give light, then even though I have eyes, I will not be able to see anything. So all these devatas are there who are the presiding deities of my body, of the organs of action, organs of perception, of my antakarana. So mana, devata is Chandrama, mana buddhi, chitta, ahankar, they have their own devatas. So when I perform actions according to the scriptures, according to my duty and all, then that affects those devatas. And those devatas, because they control all the, if suppose you have to get something from the other person, those devatas have to be there blessing that person also to give you. Otherwise it will not come, the result will not come. I am explaining in a simple way. So these are the devatas who are there. When we perform action in this world, we get the result blessed by these devatas. They have power over our senses, power over our mind, that even after we die, the records are there. So death doesn't eliminate our karma. We are born again, and whatever karma we have done in our past, we get the result in the next birth also. See, in the world, whatever action, physical action you perform, you can see the physical result in this world itself. But the connection of this life with the next life and previous life, nobody can tell. And nobody can do that connection for us. Suppose I want to what you call, if I die and I am born again, I want to have some connection, I want to get my property back. I tell someone, देखो हाँ, I will die here and born there, and वो पूरा कागज पत्र बना दो, और stamp paper ये वो, and then you will this. Nobody will accept, because this connection of one life and another life cannot be understood through our physical rules and laws and instruments. So who knows this? The Devatas know. They keep track. So when we perform action, the samskars are there in our antakarana, and those Devatas are there in the antakarana, and depending on this, we get the result in future according to our karma. But the Devatas themselves are controlled by a higher Devata. That Devata is controlled by some higher Devata. And that Devata, ultimately, everyone is controlled by Ishvara. There is a beautiful Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, our Gurudev has also quoted, which talks about these Devatas. So there are these 33 Devatas mentioned. Ashtavasu, the 5 elements, then the sun, the heaven and the moon, they are called the Ashtavasus. Then 11 Rudra, just don't have to worry about them. 11 Rudras, actually we have this Pancha Pranas, and then the Pancha Upapranas are also there. So 10 plus mind are also called 11 Rudras. Then there are 12 Aditya, then Indra and Prajapati. All of them make 33. But all of them are ultimately controlled by that Hiranyagarbha, who is the one supreme Devata. But Hiranyagarbha also is then controlled by Ishvara. So the whole structure is there. Like in an organization, there is a pyramidal structure. So this whole cosmos is a pyramidal structure is there. On top is Ishvara, but all these Devatas and all are there. And when we perform action, the immediate Devata who gets affected gives us the result. That is how. Whether it is worldly action we perform or whether we perform religious action, the result comes through this mechanism. Even whether we know it or we don't know it, that is how it works. We don't have to know the mechanism, but that is how it works. So that is a grand thing which is said here, just to convince Arjuna the importance of this karma. So Bhagavan says that you perform karma, that will benefit the Devatas, and the Devatas will bless you with appropriate result. So both of you will get benefited by this and will progress. In our Ramayana, in Mahabharata, stories are there where these asuras always they come and prevent human beings from performing these rituals or yajnas and all, and the Devatas get agitated. So through the stories, the connection between the human being and the Devatas are revealed. See, in a what you call, I had read in one book about New York that in a given year, average 72 dogs bite someone. किसी को काट लेते हैं, एवरेज होता है ना. Now, in a particular year, 72 people will be bitten by 72 different dogs. But which dog will bite which person, nobody can tell. But it happens. Like in our country or wherever, there is a rate written, birth rate, death rate, number of girl child born, number of boys are born. It's not controlled by individuals. It is controlled by something much higher. Though individually we might think we are taking decision, but the decision of all people are controlled by a system which is higher than everyone, which maintains the balance of the population also. So everything happens in a very strange way. We think that individuals are making everything happen. No, the samashti is making individuals function. Like in an ocean, if you see millions of waves, it is not that one wave is rising and this, it is the whole ocean which is making that individual waves rise and set. The totality is controlling the individuals. So here the whole system is like that when I perform action, when many people perform action, all our actions are controlled by something higher. We may not have direct control over them, but they give the result according to our action. So when individual perform an action, individually one gets the result. When a group of people perform, the group gets the result. Suppose few people come together and perform some action. Then they split, they go to their respective places, but all of them, wherever they are, the devatas give them the result. This fellow is there, gone to China, give him the result. This fellow has gone to Singapore, give him the result. Just like our mobile, wherever we move, the bill comes to us. Even if we change our outer machine, remove the SIM and put in another one, the bill comes. So this is a very beautiful structure. We have to contemplate and appreciate and understand it. Many times what we do, we just say, oh, it is all just beliefs and this and that. It is not like that. So Bhagavan says that if you and devatas together, when you work helping each other, then both of you will attain greatness. Parasparam bhavayantah shreyah paramavapsyata. Both will attain shreyah. So helping each other, you live in this world. Further, Bhagavan says, Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattana pradayebhyah yo bhunkte stena eva sah ishtan bhogan hi vo. Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha. So those devtas, all these Indra, Varun, Kuber, so many devtas are there. Those devtas, when we ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha dasyante yajna bhavita, when they are pleased by our yajna, means pleased with our work. See, all action is like yajna only. Even when you do your work at home, in the office, so our worldly activities are also like yajna. You perform. And that is how the structure is made. You have to work for someone else to get something for yourself. That is how, when we go to office, work in the organization, we are working for someone else only. And then we get our pay, our salary. So you work for someone, and someone else gives you. There is a very nice story I think in Chinese or Japanese literature, that one bird and its little bird, unke bacche. So the bird goes to the field, picks up some food, and brings and gives them in their mouth. They कुछ worm पकड़ लिया, डाल दिया मुंह में, और कुछ लिया, डाल दिया. Sometimes the bird carries the little bird with it to the field and feeds it and all. So then thereafter one day the bird tells its children that, see, I have taken care of you so nicely. So when I grow old, I hope you will also pick me up on your back and take me to the field and feed me and all. The children says, no, we will not do it. He says, क्यों? Because we will take our children. We will take our children to the field. So this is a very strange thing. I do seva of some people, but that same person need not give me the result. I mean, through that person the result need not come. It comes from somewhere else. That is how the structure is. It is not mechanical, that you do something to X and that X gives you. No. If you do to X, then X will have to give, but you are doing it to Devatas. So Devatas are there present in everyone. So Devatas will give you the result, not that particular person, but the Devatas. So Ishtan Bhogan Hivo Devaha Dasyante Yajna Bhavitaha. So when we do yajna, when we do our karma, when we chant Bhagwan's name, when we do dana, when we study our scriptures and all, and do all also worldly duties according to our ability, according to our station in life, when we do all our karmas, those devatas are pleased and they give us the result. Result is not only the physical thing which we get, even the peace and quietude which we get is the result of the devatas. If the mind devata is pleased, it will keep the mind quiet and peaceful. If the Chandrama is not pleased with us, then it will make us lunatic only. Chandra is called Luna, and Luna is the devata of the mind. So if you don't take him properly, he will take us lunatics. So, dasyante yajna bhavita. So those devatas will give whatever result to us, ishtan bhogan, whatever ishta result we want, wealth we want to get married, we want a job, we want a house, we want children, we want money, whatever. Ishta that is offered, given to us by the devatas. And if the devata plans to give, they will give in whatever way. They will make someone give us. The thought will come in someone's mind to give us. There is one story of even seekers who perform puja and they do Bhagwan's bhakti. Bhagwan takes care of them. There was one devotee who who used to worship Bhagwan regularly, and one day he was very tired and he was going somewhere, tired, hungry. He was sitting under the tree and he thought that, oh, I am hungry, I hope Bhagwan gives me food. Then someone came and offered him food. He said that suddenly that thought came to my mind that some person is there who is hungry, sitting under the tree. You better go and give him food. So I have come here and giving you this food. Even our Swami Taponji Maharaj used to tell so many incidents in his life. He says if we have faith in God, that He will provide us everything, He will provide at all times, wherever you go. So with the help of these devatas, with the help of humans, the devata can influence them and make everything possible. The result can come. So when we get this result, we should compensate, we should continuously offer it back or offer our services to the devatas. So it is a parasparam bhavayantah. This should be done. that whatever I get, I should not think that it is because of my own effort and all, and I should consume it myself. No, I should continue to offer my services to the devatas, to the totality. Bhagavan says, Tair dattan apradayebhyaha. Without offering, if we just consume it for ourselves, yo bhungte, one who just eats it, one who just takes the result and doesn't offer anything back to the devatas and to the totality, to the society, Bhagavan says, Tena eva saha. He is a thief, he is a robber. Stena eva saha. That I may not see those devatas, but I can see the society. I can see the nation. So I should offer something to the nation, and nation will give back to me. I should offer to the society gives back to me. If I just take from society and don't do anything in return, if I take from nature and don't serve the nature in return, Bhagavan says such people are thief. Stena eva saha. There are these 5 types of yajnas which are mentioned. If we don't perform them properly, then, and we just take the result will come if we have done some good karmas in our past. But then slowly the result will stop coming also. So that is what now Bhagavan says in the next verse. Yajna shishtasina santaha मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् यज्ञशिष्टासिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः. Bhagavan says we have to perform this yajna. All karmas, all our niyatam karma are briefly called yajna. All the actions which we perform, our duties, are called yajna. And there are 5 main types of duties which are mentioned. They are called Deva Yajna, Brahma Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Nri Yajna, and Bhuta Yajna. Deva Yajna is those karmas which we are performing and offering it to the devatas for the sake of the devatas. Brahma Yajna is that karma which we do, Brahma Yajna or Rishi Yajna are those karmas which we do which to maintain the tradition, to maintain the tradition of the scriptures, etc. Means study the scriptures and share it with others. Then the Pitru Yajna is there, wherein we perform some karmas to for the departed, our ancestors. Then Nru Yajna, we perform actions for the sake of human beings around us. And Bhuta Yajna, we perform action for the sake of all other beings, animal, birds, plant. Now, very interesting. It includes all. So one is Deva Yajna, means we perform certain, like every day we do puja, or we chant Bhagwan's name, or we do some special ritual wherein to propitiate those devatas. So there is Deva Yajna. Then we have this Rishi Yajna or Brahma Yajna, wherein we have to study the scriptures and maintain that knowledge of the scriptures and give it to our children, give it to others around us. So the tradition of this knowledge is maintained. That is our our duty towards our rishis or duty towards our Vedas. It's called Brahma Yajna. duty towards Vedas is to study them yourself, use them in your life, and impart it to your children, so that traditionally it is maintained. Parampara is maintained. I hope you are with me. Then the Pitru Yajna, एक तो हम श्राद्ध वगैरह करते हैं, but otherwise Pitru Yajna is to remember our ancestors and keep that certain tradition which they have also given to us, to maintain that. हमारे माता पिता है, हमारे दादा दादी and all the ancestors, whatever they have, because of them we have learnt and all, that also has to be remembered, and we should be able to pay our respect to them. Because we are just a link in a long chain. So it's a flow. Human beings, animal, birds, it's a flow. So we have got something from our past, we have to use it and give it to our future. And it goes on. जैसे नदी होती है, if it is passing through your property, you don't have the right to stop the flow of that water or consume the whole thing for yourself. You just take what you want, but allow the flow to be maintained. Let the water pass through other property. Let it go to other. You might want more water, less water. You might not require any water, doesn't matter. But you should allow it to pass. Similarly, there are certain traditions which I might not agree or I might not like it, doesn't matter. You have to pass it on to your children, they pass it on to their children, and in this way the tradition is maintained. The tradition of our Vedas are maintained in this way, through Guru Shishya and through families. There were families who were given responsibilities of maintaining certain aspect of the Vedas. There were families who were responsible to keep all the 4 Vedas. They have to learn and impart it to their children and maintain the sanctity of the 4 Vedas. They were the Chaturvedis. अभी सिर्फ नाम बाकी है. Then Trivedis, Dvivedi. Then shakhas भी होते, तलवरकर शाखा, ये शाखा, वो शाखा. Then that family had the responsibility. Even now, as I said, there were so many shakhas of these Vedas. Just when during Patanjali Rishi's time, there were more than 1,000 shakhas. Now only some 8 or so shakhas are remaining. And that is also spread out. Some family in some North India, some family in South, some family in East, some portion of our country, few person know about it. So slowly it is getting reduced. So it was a responsibility towards our rishis that we learn it and pass it on. Suppose you discover something most amazing, most wonderful, most important to all mankind. What will you do? You will tell everyone, but what about the future generation? They should also know. So everyone should pass it on to everyone else. So in this way only it will be maintained. And by God's grace in our country, though a lot of things are lost, but from time immemorial, a lot of these traditions are still alive. Our Vedas are still alive. Though few people know about it, but still it is there. The Upanishads are still alive. A lot of things of our scriptures are still alive because of this tradition. तो एक तो गुरु शिष्य परंपरा है और दूसरा in family there was parampara. It is not just in the ashrams or so, but family. So each family had to maintain the sanctity of the Vedas. That is our Rishi Runa, our Rin toward the Rishis. If we have learned something from them, it is our responsibility that we pass it on to others, because that is what they want. They want that it should be maintained for a long, long time. See, nowadays in modern times, we try to, like even in Chinmay Mission, we have what we call archives. We try to maintain certain things. Pujya Gurudev, whatever talks he had given and all writings are there, and all the various yajnas and various things he had done, we are trying to maintain that also. So his talks and all we are converting into those digital system, but then digital system also keeps on changing. अगर वो सब आप उसको पहले के ज़माने में वो ऐसे स्पूल वाला वो होता था, क्या बोलते हैं उस कैसेट. If you have kept lot of your material in the cassette, now you cannot even see because those things are not available. So you have to convert it into some modern system. Then again. So in this electronic world, you cannot maintain something permanently. A time will come, then everything will collapse. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी फेल हो गया, कुछ फेल हो गया, ये हो गया, पूरा एकदम कंप्यूटर डाउन हो गया. कहाँ है आपका सब ज्ञान कंप्यूटर में, अब क्या आ गया क्या. That was not our traditional system, was to print it on in our head. All the Vedas were printed in our head, and that's how it went into our genes, it went into our DNA, and that's how it was maintained for a long time. So it is our duty towards our rishis. Bhagavad Gita हम बैठ के यहाँ पढ़ते हैं. It is such a sublime text, such a sublime thing, but we can read it and study it because for 5,000 years people have kept it in their memory. Before the discovery of writing and printing, is to memorize the whole thing. They have kept it in their memory. So it is our gratitude towards all of them. That should be there. Our gratitude, ki haan, the Vedas, the words. There are people who, even not knowing the meaning, they by-hearted the whole thing and they used to teach to their children, their students, then they to their children, and that's how it is maintained. So it's most amazing. So that is our responsibility towards the rishis. That is called Rishi Yajna. So our responsibility towards the devatas, towards the rishis, then towards our own ancestors. We might not like some of them, we might not agree to some of the things which they have done, but that is in their time, in their situation, that is the best decision they had taken. So we should have because in our blood, in our system, in our bone, they are still living. See, our ancestors have not died. They are still living as us. We are our ancestors. हम ही अपने दादा है, हम ही अपने नाना है, हम ही because they have given their material to us. So it is our responsibility, it is one of our duty to be grateful to them and whatever they have given, the tradition, to pass it on to our children and go on. Some people try to be extra smart and extra modern and all. They say, I don't believe in this, all this tradition. So वो खुद नहीं जानते हैं या जानते भी है तो अपने बच्चों को नहीं सिखाते हैं. Children go to some school, this, that, and they don't understand this tradition. So slowly it is getting lost. After a few years, we will not even recognize ourselves as Hindus or as Indians or as Bharatiya or of this tradition. So it is our responsibility to maintain the sanctity of our ancestors. That is called Pitru Yajna. So these three are subtle: Deva Yajna, Rishi Yajna, Pitru Yajna. Then we have a responsibility to other human beings. Manushya Yajna, take care of each other. सब साथ में मिलकर रहो इस धरती पर. And then the last but not the least is Bhuta Yajna, take care of nature, the 5 elements and all the animal, birds, plant. As a human being, we are on the top of the ladder of evolution. It is our responsibility to take care of all of them who are there lower. Our decision should be such that it should not harm those beings. हम रोड बना देते हैं बट कितने पेड़ काट लेते हैं, कितना नेचर को नुकसान करते हैं. इट इज, वी शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट इट. वी डोंट हैव राइट टू जस्ट कीप ऑन डिस्टर्बिंग नेचर. We put dam in our rivers, haphazardly extract minerals and do all sorts of things. It is, we are not the owners of this world. We are just one of the many creatures. But since we are intelligent and all, we have the capacity to exploit them. But we should not do that. Should not exploit other beings. Should see that whatever we do, we should sustain the balance of this world. So that is our yajna towards the nature. Bhuta yajna it is called. So these 5 types of responsibilities we have, which are given to us by the scriptures. कि ये 5 चीज़ें आप करो as a human being. You do your duty toward the devtas, toward the rishis, towards your ancestors, towards other human beings, and towards all other creatures. So that's called yajna. And when we perform these actions towards all of them, then we will get the result. The devtas will give us the result. And one who just takes that result, that's called yajna shishta. When we perform this yajna, the result which we get is called yajna shishta. जैसे हम पूजा करते हैं तो उनको जो मिलता है उसको प्रसाद कहते हैं. Similarly, when we do yajna, that which you get in return is called yajna shishta. It's like prasad. So Bhagavan says those who live just eating this prasad, means those who perform these yajnas and whatever result comes, they survive on that, then they are good. They destroy all their papa. Yajna shishta sinas santam muchyante sarva kilbishaihi. They become free of all their kilbish, all their sins. Because all our sins are related to these 5 only. We have, if we have not performed our duties toward these 5, then we have harmed them in some way or other. We have not performed duties toward the devtas, we harm the cosmic structure of this world. If we don't perform our duty toward the rishis, that also harms the tradition. Again, our ancestors, again, other human beings, and animal, birds, plant. So when we perform all these karmas properly, then Bhagavan says you will become free of all your kilbish, all your sins, all your papa, all your rina. कर्जा चुक जाएगा हमारा. Otherwise, so, because give and take is the system of this world. That is how Bhagavan has made it. He doesn't favor anyone कि आप चुपचाप बैठो, आपको खाना पीना सब देंगे. There is system. सबको अपना अपना काम करना पड़ता है. So if suppose if we just keep on taking, then वो ऋण हो जाता है. So we have to give. If not in this life, then other life. So give and take is the system, and we have to do it. Until we become totally pure, and Bhagavan himself gives us permission that okay, now you can renounce all this and strive to attain me. So the scriptures, through the scriptures, Bhagavan himself gives us permission that you can renounce all these karmas and focus on attaining that state of enlightenment. But before that, you have to fulfill all your duties. You have to do all this work. So, bhunjate te tvagam papaha. Bhagavan says, those who don't do this, they are as though eating sins only. They are eating papa. Ye pachanti atma karanat. Those who live in this world cooking for themselves. Cooking for themselves means living in a selfish way, working only for themselves. Don't care for the devtas, don't care for the rishis, don't care for the ancestors, don't care for other human beings. See, we can understand at the other human beings and animal, bird, plant level also we understand, but we don't do anything about it. We can understand this, but the subtler we don't understand the value of it. So even now we find suddenly people becoming aware of sustainable development. Lot of new words are coming in the society. Sustainable development, then what you call that, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, the all the industries and all they have to do. Social responsibilities. Huh? What is full form? Okay, corporate social responsibilities and all. These are all these yajnas only are coming out. जब गड़बड़ हो जाती है तो शास्त्र से ही ज्ञान प्राप्त होता. Means what is said in the scriptures in some form or other comes to help us. This is our responsibility. Nature is, and nature will works in its own way. If it finds that something is harmful for it, it will tolerate for some time. बाद में सबको साफ कर लेता है. Human beings are in a totally in a very precarious state, because they are the one who can create maximum damage to the nature, human beings. So nature भी देखते रहता है कि चलो देखता है क्या करते हैं. And it doesn't have to struggle much. The nature is so vast. A ocean and the waters are so vast, it can come, wipe out everyone, make it safai, and again the creation can start from scratch. That's called pralay. In a short span also pralay take place. Anyway, I don't want to frighten you. The topic came like that. So yajna sishta sinas santaha muchyante sarva kilbishaihi. Therefore, hey Arjun, these performing actions and all are not just at a selfish level, not just that you perform action to take care of your family and neighbors and all those things. It's a vast thing. It's a complex structure. The scriptures tell us that we are living in a living organism. We are living within the living body of Bhagwan. Just like bacteria live in you, they are not living in a dead material. The bacteria are living in a living person. Similarly, all of us are living in living God. And living God has got its own way of functioning. That all this have to function in a proper way. So, bhunjate te tvagam papaha, those who don't follow this system properly, they eat sin only. Te pachanti atmakaranat. Therefore, hey Arjuna, you have to act. So you have to perform action. So how exactly this dedicating our action to Bhagwan we should perform, and is it that we keep till what we should perform this action? Is there someone who is free from all these actions? And all these questions, more questions are there. Those will be answered further actually. Our time is up now. So we will leave this thing till here, and from next yajna we will continue. It's a beautiful topic actually, and comprehensive, most wonderful. And this is the main teaching, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga अच्छी तरह से समझना चाहिए, and we have to follow it. Automatically that jnana and all will happen. If the karma itself is not proper, then आगे का काम ठीक नहीं चलता है. So we should understand this teaching of Karma Yoga and sincerely follow it. It will give us all good. It will lead us to our welfare. More we will see next time. Now we'll meditate for 5 minutes. Now you sit quietly, close your eyes, and bring all your attention to the present moment. And understand the vastness of this cosmos. All of us, our body, our equipment, all of us are sitting in Bhagwan's body. This whole vast cosmos is body of Ishvara. He is the Virat Purush. All the devatas are part of him, within him. All the jivas are within him. पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।